Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 1212 Review. Sorry for the noise you hear in the background. There's a lot of people having a lot of fun in my hallway. This Impact was very good. I felt last week's Impact was rushed, mainly because it felt like it could have been a 3-hour show. I wish that TNA would take a little tip from WWE once in a while, not every time. Put out a 2.5 to a 3-hour show will actually make things a lot more interesting. At least once in a while. I'm not asking for it every day. But this show didn't really need extra time because there was only 3 matches. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Knockouts division. I wouldn't normally talk about them first, but I felt this is necessary because of who came back. I've heard Fool Killer 99, I've heard the Slag Daddy, and I heard NJ 17 from the British Fist. I love those guys. But when it comes down to it, I originally said when Lady Tappa came out, it was good to have Gail Kim there for the simple fact she's going to get seen. She doesn't have the ability to talk yet. She doesn't have a really well-developed character. And she still looked very awkward in the ring. I was hoping, truly hoping, that being with Gail Kim, yes, you can say whatever the hell you want with her. She is still seasoned enough to know what's going on. Now, I know that Fool Killer 99 was not fond of seeing Gail Kim take so much thunder because of what was going on with this open invitation that she's been putting out. A lot of women who should have been allowed to at least win have been buried. And I am not proud of that. But I have been generally okay because Lady Tappa has been allowed to be seen. But now seeing what just happened previously in this Impact, where ODB wanted to take a piece out of Lady Tappa, and she got her ass handed to her, who came back? The very first person that I was hoping would go somewhere else, and that was Madison Rayne. It couldn't have been Terrence Terrell. No. They wouldn't bring back the better knockouts that have been there. You may not want to hear about Tara. You may not want to hear about Micah Jane, my lady, my love of TNA. Hell, bring back Angelina Love, the one person that people truly do love very much, that they truly wish could come back. We get Madison Rayne. This is where I believe TNA made a serious mistake. I'm sorry, they did. Madison Rayne is not a great talent. I commend her coming back after having a kid. Fine. Just like Terrence Terrell went and got pregnant. I commend her coming back after having her baby. There's no problem with that. But she's not a great talent. I'm going to be honest to you. They're going to bring her back very strong. And I'm hoping beyond fuck they're not going to let her go after the Knockouts Championship. But let's be honest, they're going to do it. And I'm not happy about that. Next week, Gail Kim and Lady Tappa versus Madison Rayne and ODB. Does this mean it's going to be a good match? Hell no. I don't want to see ODB. Not that much at all. But at least you would deal with Tappa. I don't want to see Madison Rayne. And I definitely don't want to see Gail Kim get her ass handed to her by Madison Rayne. That's going to happen. Now moving on to the first match of the night. Bad Influence versus Parks and Young. I'm not even going to cover the match. It doesn't matter. This is what matters. I said quite a long time ago that Eric Young is going to reciprocate. It's going to basically be the catalyst for Abyss coming back. Now, of course, after the blood was spilled, when he went in his face, is obvious. What do we get? We got Eric Young saying simply, "You can't find your brother because you are your brother. You are Abyss." I know people are thinking it's really anticlimactic. I'm sorry. Not really myself. I'll explain later. But this is the thing. We've been wanting a Abyss to come back from our wonderful Joseph Park. We didn't want them to rush the Jekyll and Hyde bit. And I've said myself, this reminds me of Kane versus Rob Van Dam. It does. When you see this, to me personally, as far as I understood, Rob Van Dam had a short feud with Kane after that situation had happened. This is what we're going to get with Eric Young and the Abyss. Once we finally see the metamorphosis of Joseph Park finally going to Abyss, we're going to have a feud between Abyss and Eric Young. And I have to say this, two things. One, I was very questionable about bad influence being used in this fashion. I didn't want to see them doing this with Abyss. But now that I think about it, they are the best people to be able to help bring this out. Because they're the most entertaining two in the company right now. They are. They really made this. Really made it work where people had some level of interest. If it was bromance, it wouldn't even work. So I gotta commend Kaz and Daniels. I really do. And when it comes to Eric Young, it has been a long time since I'm sure people have seen him serious. So this has been very refreshing. I'm sure after a couple of months after the feud is over, they'll switch Eric Young back to a comic, a comedian, a very like to drop his shorts type of person. But seeing this is actually very nice. It's good to see a change up within TNA's character development. And they're doing a lot better they are doing in WWE. So I'm moving on to EC3 and the Sting and Jeremy Borath segment. I was looking fond of seeing Jeremy grovel, but seeing Sting was not a surprise. I've said it already and I'm sure other people realize it. Ethan Carter III is entitled, and the person who wants to take out entitlement is going to be Sting. Sting said it like this: either you get into feast and fired match, or you're going to get your ass handed to you by me personally. Pick. So the genius of the one percenter decides to go into the feast or fired match. I'm glad to see this, but it counts on Sting. Sting didn't do that bad, but if he does not put this guy over properly, I'm going to riot. Because what was the point of putting Ethan Carter III up against a Sting if Sting is not going to do the fucking job we need him to do? Now, feast and fired match. The person I hope gets the fired match briefcase will be Chavo. I'm sorry. I don't hate Chavo, but I said many months ago that sooner or later Chavo Guerrero would go into the world title scene, which I wish would not happen. But if he does not get the fired, I see it like this. There's only 3 options for him if he doesn't get fired, which would make the most sense. Tag team, which will suck. X Division, which will suck. And you know, actually, I made a mistake. And the fired case. No one wants to see Chavo Guerrero get the world title. Doesn't want to see the match. Don't want to see the world title. But I'm hoping I am wrong and he's not going to do that. Let him go into the X Division. Fine. Let him go into the tag titles again. I don't give a fuck. Let him get fired. Just don't let him go to the world title. Zema Ion, Gunner, and Ethan Carter III got their own briefcases. And here's the thing about Gunner. If he turns heel, it makes no sense. It's better to see a James Storm turn heel. Many people want to see Beer Money come back. I want to see Beer Money come back. But it's not going to happen as long as Rude is a heel and Storm is a face. If Storm gets turned heel, eventually they will team up and reform Beer Money, which they actually need in the tag division. As much as we want to see a James Storm in the world title scene, and particularly even more a Robert Roode, we need Beer Money right now. There's not much going on in the tag titles. Nothing. Now, the final match is the X Division. Aries versus Sabin. And having a Velvet Sky with the beautiful boobies, and she doesn't have a lot of ass, but she still have a pretty face with some nice boobs. I don't hate her. But here's the thing. She's never acted like a heel. And having her with Sabin really didn't make a lot of sense. They should have turned her heel. Next to that, there's no feud between these two. Unless this is going to be over the X Division and Velvet Sky, then I can understand why they had this match. I'm not angry that Austin Aries won the X Division. I'm not. He has to do something until the world title scene is straightened out with AJ Styles and what's going to possibly happen with Magnus. But you get my point. He won the titles, but what if there is no feud out of this over the X Division title? If there is no, you get my point. I will get upset. Now, Rockstar Spud. Oh, dude. If no one likes Rockstar Spud in this position and this capacity, they need to explain the reason why. I understand one reason. The cookie cutter, when it comes down to it, you put a British person as a great announcer or as someone who's kind of like a servant or like to help. They usually put them in those positions because they're considered elegant, refined. That makes you feel like you got money. Is it fair to do that to someone who's a Brit? No. I'm not fond of always seeing a Brit being used in that capacity. But sometimes, in the right timing, in the right person, it works. Rockstar Spud is epic. I love him in this capacity. Going to Georgia, going to a gas station, then going into a bar, and then singing God Save the Queen. Dude, that was just, it was stupid. You don't sing rock in a country music bar, baby. It just worked perfectly. Then getting the title and then not getting the title, creeping around in AJ Styles' house, and then he got the title, then lost it. It made sense. Seeing AJ in this capacity is very good, and I'm enjoying this. Let Rockstar Spud continue doing this work. As he said right before he was going to sing, hell, why don't I do it? I am a rock star, baby. I loved it. Finally, no, I forgot. The part I really am not interested in. Bully Ray and Anderson. I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. It would have been better if Bully Ray had gone away for 2 months. 2 months. That's all I asked for. Stay away for 2 months, come back, and then do the storyline. Let Mr. Anderson get some traction on his own. No. What do we get? Right before Feast and Fired, Anderson gets his ass laid out and then pile. You see, I'm botching because I don't care about this right now. It's too soon. They should have waited at least 2 months for this. Give it some time to let the assassinate fade away. So we don't hear nothing from Taz because I don't care about the motherfucker. Even though he ain't saying it, I still feel eventually he's going to say it. Mr. Anderson not saying it. I wanted to see him finally fade from it. But they wouldn't do it. They want to push this now down our throats, and it's too soon. If this was done maybe at Genesis, okay. Let Ace and Nick go away. Bully Ray comes back. Then they do something right around Genesis or Lockdown. It would have been better then. But now they're not doing that. And I feel like they're pushing this and it's not working. I hate it. And I'm going to be honest about it. I do hate it. And I don't care how well Bully Ray did or didn't do. He shouldn't have been out there in the first place. Finally, Magnus, Hardy, Dick Sakata. After what happened with Rude and Kurt Angle, and I will get to that last, there was no more Wheeler Dixie. So she came up with a match called Dixieland. What is it? Steel cage match. Once you get out of there, you got to climb a ladder right near the entrance of the back to get the title. I don't know if that's going to work out. It sounds interesting, but it's going to count on the execution. Now, both guys, periodically through the night, their video segments sounded good. Magnus felt more important to me personally because you can tell how he was talking, he botched. I think he botched on purpose to show how immense this is for him, how important this is for him. He's 26. He's one of the youngest people they had in quite a while to get the title. So this has a feel of something very important, very immense. And I liked it. So seeing what's going to happen later, I really want to see this at Final Resolution. I want to see this, and I'm hoping Magnus does win. because I don't think it's going to work with Hardy. Finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about, Angle versus Rude. 2 out of 3 falls next week. I have not been bored with this feud. It's been pretty well done. And I want to see this blow off by the time of Genesis. And Rude must go clean over Genesis. If Angle wins clean at Genesis, I will riot, because it makes no sense why they had to use Rude in this respect. I don't like it. I understand about when it comes to the road to redemption for Kurt Angle, but it shouldn't be at Rude's expense. Now, how do I rate this show? I'm going to give it a B. Last week, I felt it just wasn't enough time. It should have been extended an extra 30 minutes. Maybe an hour they could have gave them. But since they didn't want to do it, it just felt rushed to me personally. But this show didn't feel rushed. Everything felt like it fell in place pretty well. Did it still need improvement? Of course, there was no Sam Shaw. We didn't see bromance, even though I don't care about them. Only Madison Rayne. Why? Madison Rayne. Why did you bring it back like that? But you get my point. Now, I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Subscribe and comment. Oh, God. Subscribe and comment to my channel. I'm very sorry. This is going to be uploaded on a Sunday. Unfortunately for me, on Thursday, I actually fell down a few flights of steps while leaving my building. Nothing really serious. Luckily for me, I didn't hurt myself really badly. I'm okay. Just strained out my hand. Got some bruising on my left leg. But I've been kind of incapacitated. So I'm very sorry about this video being uploaded late. But I promise you I'm doing my best to try and get some stuff out, even though I am very busy right now. And I will be getting my TLC review out. I'm not doing a prediction right now. Let's just hope everything works out this Sunday. Have a good day. Ugh.